everyone. This is Angelica. Nice to see you. How are you today? I know I always say the same thing when I start a video. Anyway, today's video is going to be on stage 4 of the spiritual awakening process. This stage is called the dark night of the soul. And it's kind of odd that I would be wearing white and that I would have white roses behind me to symbolize spiritual love. But I'll explain why in a moment. So after the rising up of the Kundalini energy, and after that takes you really high up and makes you feel in complete ecstasy and awe of all the things that you never knew were possible, that can last, from a few months to a year, usually not more than that, because your body cannot handle that much energy for a prolonged period of time. And also the Kundalini energy, if not channeled properly, and if you don't take really good care of yourself and allow that energy to be balanced in your body, it will burn out all of your systems, your glandular systems, your hormonal systems, which are tied into your glands, and your nervous system. It will just burn it out, and you will feel like really, literally burnt out. And right around this time, now I just want to reiterate that I only talk about my own experience with my own spiritual awakening process in hopes that what I've gone through may be able to help you through your journey. So after this intense high, which some, like I said, may scare them because these new insights and new revelations may not be very comfortable to some people, especially if they're gripping onto the ego. Okay? So the dark night of the soul is where the ego, in a sense, dies. And this process can take a really long time if your ego is still holding on to things really tightly and doesn't want to let go. So on top of being completely fried from the Kundalini energy and having my whole body feel burnt out, I was going through what's called the dark night of the soul. Now, what is the dark night of the soul? Dark night of the soul is when you just feel really, really, really depressed. You feel like, you're in that space of being in the middle. You're not to who you are to become yet, and you can never go back to what you were, because you would rather die than go back to what you were. But in fact, you have to stay alive, and you have to live through this process, which can be kind of a long process of just not knowing what you want to do. You kind of have a glimpse, and you kind of know from the high energy of the Kundalini awakening, you kind of got some picture and some idea of what, this energy is, and what you are to become. The problem is with this dark night of the soul, even after experiencing that really high state of bliss, you come down into this darkness and just thought that maybe that's never going to happen again. Like all those things you saw and all those things you thought you were supposed to be aren't going to happen because you just feel so low, like nothing interests you, nothing around you seems to bring you joy, and you're just kind of stuck in this really dark, depressing place. You feel really all alone. You feel like you can't relate to anyone. Part of the reason for that is because you're in this middle ground. You're in this middle space where you're not connecting with, the people you're supposed to yet. And you've had to let go of the people and things from your past. So it can be a really dark and lonely time. But what you need to remember is this is the time when you will go through an expansive state of growth. You will grow really, really fast in a short amount of time. In this incubation period of being very inward and into yourself and kind of suffering, through this process that's really difficult is how we become our full awakened spiritual selves. And so this process is really an important process, and it is part of most spiritual awakening journeys. Now, not all, but most people that are going through the spiritual awakening will go through what's called the dark night of the soul. And so if you are able to go through the death of your ego self, it feels like you're dying, but you're not dying. Your ego is dying, and you're coming into this state of more unconditional love and of higher spiritual love. And that's what the white roses represent, is this high frequency love that doesn't have any limits. It doesn't have any boundaries like the ego does. The ego is very limited and confining. And so in the dark night of the soul, you're just really feeling that confined, limited feeling, and it doesn't feel good to you anymore, because you know from going up in the Kundalini awakening phase what life really could be, and you wonder why you're stranded here on this like dark, limited planet going through this process. And the only reason it's truly scary is because you think you're never coming out of it. I mean, even if you watch this video, even if you read some books on the subject, you still feel like it's never going to end, because it can be a long process, and it will come and go like all the other spiritual stages. This is another stage that will blend into the others. So even when you start to come out of the dark night of the soul, there will be days that you feel like you're in the dark night of the soul again. But this is when things start really burning off, and you like sit and you just think, and you just think in more of dark ways. Which for me was so abnormal, because I don't think in a dark way. In fact, for a long time kind of resisted the dark. Now I definitely embrace it, and I'm okay with it. But before I went through this process, I pushed darkness away. I'm like, no, only light, only light. And now I can wear white, and I love light still, but I also love the darkness, and I see how the two go together and merge and become one, and I see the importance of them both. So whereas before I'd always try to push away the darkness. And so whenever you try to push something away or put up your wall to it, what happens? It becomes bigger, it becomes more intense, it becomes more in your face. Like, you have to learn to embrace it and allow it. And you can come more fully into who you're truly meant to become. So the dark night of the soul, if you are going through this right now, I just want you to know that it does end, and there is support for you out there. There's a lot of really good books that you can read. You can go online, and maybe I'll put some recommendations for this on my website of some good books that I read when I was going through it. Also, just, knowing that it's going to be over. It will end, and you will be smiling again, and you will feel the spiritual energy again, and you will be stepping into your full, true purpose again. Your life will go on, and in a higher octave, in a higher way. You will be transformed by this process. This is a process that's going to completely, make you let go of the ego, let go of the limiting confines of what you had previously believed. And so you do go through a period of really, questioning everything, but just this period is not, you don't feel very good while going through it. You question everything, God, you question the way things are, you question yourself. It's just like constantly questioning everything. So, yes, I decided to wear white in this video to let you know that this is what's on the other side of the dark night of the soul, is the beauty and purity and innocence and spiritual love that is always with you, even in the dark night of the soul. This is what you will fully feel when you are through that process. And no matter how bad it feels then, it will get so much better. And if you're going through the dark night of the soul, that there's a big purpose for you. Spirit has a big mission for you, and you might already know that in your heart. Yet when you're going through this process of the dark night of the soul, you tend to doubt it because it seems so overwhelmingly, upsetting. And not only that, you're probably going through other symptoms of, awakening, which include extreme fatigue. You're always tired. Your eating patterns are changing. Your body's wanting you to eat, more healthy foods, and maybe that's difficult for you. It's like your whole being is going through all these changes, and on top of that, you're feeling kind of more down and depressed. So just to let you know, there is, hope. You will get through it. You have a big, huge purpose here on the planet, and this is just another aspect or stage of this journey. And if you do want to sign up for spiritual counseling services with me, you can go on my website and click on spiritual services, and we can connect either through phone or Skype or other ways through email as well. So I hope this video has helped you guys, and if you do have any comments or questions about the dark night of the soul, please leave them below and I can try to answer those as quickly as possible. I am busy, so be patient and I'll try to get to them as soon as I can, okay? Well, thank you guys. I love everyone, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you.